Hi, welcome. Welcome in. Long time no see, long time no hang in my channel for a live or even a video. I've just been kind of occupied with other stuff. One of these candles is, oh, I think it's this wax dripping. I kept hearing it popping for a minute. So welcome back. Thanks for being here for this live stream. Feels good to be back. I've just been busy doing a bunch of other stuff for myself that I've been really liking to do, so I'm going to share some of it here, and then otherwise just looking forward to getting back to just doing cards and divination work, and talking about what has been coming through. And what I think is going to come through in this layout is that people in this collective are dealing with either a person or people who are presenting themselves as these sort of empathic, healed, vulnerable type people that are very about healing and emotions and the psyche and all that. And then it turns out they're actually the ones causing harm. Either they are committing horrible crimes or plotting to commit crimes or whatever, right? There's something under the surface. And I meant to look this crime victim, there was a ongoing discussion about whether she had taken action against herself to unalive herself. I know the terminology is weird on YouTube, you have to watch out. Or whether she was killed by her spouse, and he was this sort of highly known person in their community as a pastor, but once you kind of go beneath the surface, it turns out he was very manipulative and controlling of her, right? I meant to look her name up because I forgot her name all of a sudden. But anyways, it's a case like that keeps coming through. And a content creator that I watch whose family has been through this and survived it was covering a trial and talking about, she highlighted, and I thought it was really great on her part, and I wanted to do similar, in the Corey Richins trial, the sort of weird conundrum of Corey Richins, because she's a killer, right? She's now a convicted killer, and it seemed likely that she was guilty, I'll just say, as a, citizen, private citizen with opinions. And now she's been convicted. But she had this persona that was this whole affect of like perfect mom, really caring towards her kids, wrote a book to help her children grieve the death of the spouse that she's now been convicted of murdering. Okay, so it's a person like that we're talking about. And I see some people in the chat. Hi, I'll be kind of in and out of the chat. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here and participating in the chat. I'll end up muting you if you're in here trolling me, or if you're in here promoting any kind of bigotry, you're going to get muted. Also, I'm not going to respond if you're just doing a lot of spam type comments and whatever. But if you're commenting relevant to the reading or have a question for me for tarot that you want me to get to near the end when I do questions for folks that have them and want them, feel free to enter those. But yeah, that's going to be what comes through the reading is fake healers, like fake healers that not only are they fake, but they're actually liars, right? Or they have actually caused a lot of harm. And in the comments, it looks like, let me just check in with you here. Is this a real story? Hi, Ash Channel. Yeah, sure. Maybe you can have a shout out, I guess. Ash Channel. I don't know what you do. Hopefully you're not doing something that I don't like. And then whoever this person is, I can't quite make it out. Something Wang, JJE. Wang, can I have a shout out too, please? Well, hello to you. Thank you both for being here. So anyways, yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. And after I do the general reading, if you have questions, I'll ask questions for you at the end for kicks, because I like doing that. So first, I just wanted to show these beauties off. These are some wands that I made. I got inspired because a limb was cut recently off of some Pacific madrone trees where we live that grow and are mature and very beautiful. If you're not familiar with those trees, Google them. They're really stunning hardwood trees, and they grow in the Pacific in certain really rocky kind of soil. And we had a limb that I harvested these wands from a madrone tree. And so I dressed these wands with dragon's blood essential oil, charged the wands on the full blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo a couple weeks ago. And then I wanted to add sort of some crystal and prayer type elements to them. So to all of these wands, there's 5 here that I made in this set. And this is as close to doing coven work as I do. I'm a hedge witch. I don't practice as a group. But my plan for these wands is I'm going to keep one for myself, and then I'm going to sell the other 4. And so it'll be sort of like these wands are charged and linked through sacred numerology and through the magic I did to make them highly protective. They're to protect us bodily and energetically. They're really powerful. They're even surprising to me how powerful they feel, and I created them. But I made them out of things that also have their own sort of living sentient energy, right? Like trees and rocks and things. If you're an animist, you believe that, and I'm an animist. So these are selenite crystals added to these wands to make a selenite Pacific Madrone wand wrapped in copper. And then I created this little string of beads that include freshwater pearls, garnets, and black tourmaline. And then I just dressed them in ribbons with some beautiful Yoruba coloring to honor that part of my own practice. And so these are all made similarly, right? They're all similar. They all have the same elements. They're all linked via grid work that I did to infuse these with protection. And then I blessed them all under the new moon in Pisces, and to welcome in all this new energy that's rushing in after this new moon in Pisces. So these are really powerful. They're very protective. You can use them like this just to kind of scan your body and shield and cleanse your energy. You can sleep with one to protect you in the dream space. You can have one on your altar or decorating your home or above a window to either protect your altar, your ancestors, or your home, etc. You can also do things that are just in the classic traditional Western witching, right? Like cast a circle. You can cast a circle with these wands, a protective magic creating circle, right? So they're also just works of art. And if you want to have a work of art of mine that isn't something necessarily spiritual for you, but you like my art, you could have it also, and it would protect your home. I do want to say though that these wands are made for anyone who identifies as a woman. They're not necessarily for men. Maybe at some point I'll make wands that are specifically for men, but these are for women. But they have masculine energy to balance them in that they are wands. Wands is a phallus, right? Wands are a symbol of the phallus. So even though these are feminine, meant for feminine and divine feminine archetypal energy, they have divine masculine energy grounding them with the phallic symbol, right? So these wands, I'm just proud of them, wanted to show them off. You'll be able to buy these if you want one of the 4 through my Instagram. That's where I'm going to offer them and, connect you with how to purchase them. It would be through my Venmo or Cash App. I don't have like an Etsy shop or anything like that. So they smell amazing. They feel amazing. I think they look amazing. I'm really proud of them. So just wanted to show them off. And like I said, that's about as close to coven work as you'll see me do. But we're all going to be linked as women with these wands anonymously. We don't have to be in a forced community, right? We're just like a knowing, wise women community holding these wands in our possession and connected to one another and our feminine strength via these wands. So that was my intention when I made them. And I think that's all for these. Let's move these out of the way. I'll leave one here. And let's see, where do I want to start? With wounded healer type energy. So, or not wounded healer, but pretend healer, manipulative healer. So the example that came to mind was that pastor that is suspected of having actually taken his wife's life, even though he was acting like he was this vulnerable, healed pastor. That's incredibly insidious, right? Because it often takes advantage. Oh, that's the other thing that's coming through. Gosh, I'm glad I remembered. So There was a theme I said I was going to address, and we'll do it in the layout because it's going to come through in the layout. But it involves. Oh God, I just lost it. Sorry. Well, we'll just keep going here. Let's start the layout. It's involving fake healers. Yeah, it'll come back to me. Using manipulation. Oh, and when people are particularly vulnerable, like what makes people vulnerable to cults and things, you might often, and you'll hear people in cults or survivors of cults say, I would have never thought of myself as vulnerable to a cult, right? Like I was a critical thinker, I was a professional, I had a master's degree, and yet I wound up in a cult, right? And I was isolated totally from my family. I cut off all my loved ones. I believed in the leader 100%, things like that. There are times in our lives where even the most solid together backbone of steel, wise, grounded person could find themselves in a situation where they wound up in a cult. And it happens because when you go through a very traumatic event, it often happens. I don't want to say every single time, but if you've gone through a really traumatic event in your life, your brain goes through something because of the brain's plasticity. It goes through a soul journey too, I believe. But even if you're not a spiritual person, even if you only believe in the science of the mind, when you go through a trauma, the brain's plasticity is impacted. And it's like it takes all of what you know and have believed about the world up until the point of the trauma and throws it all up into the air. That's like the best way I can think of to explain this happening. Is that in that moment, your brain is open for new ideas, new interpretations, new understandings, because everything you thought up until that point is now in question because of this trauma. That's what a trauma will do. It will turn everything upside down in your life. It'll make you feel like, God, I thought I was safe in the world. Now I'm not. I thought I could trust these people. Now I can't. I thought I could trust this man. He violated me. Whatever it is. I thought I was fighting for a just cause. Now I'm post-combat traumatized and I have a moral injury because I don't believe in the things that I did. It could look a number of ways. Once that trauma point has happened in your life, it opens you up spiritually and it opens your psyche, because it's like, it's such a shock to your system that your system is now like, okay, well now everything's open. Everything's up for debate. Everything I thought was true now is in question. When you're really open like that, it's a really amazing opportunity for healing. It's also a really amazing opportunity for nefarious people to come into your life and exploit you because of that. And these types of bad actors are often emotionally intelligent, which is what makes them so dangerous. Like that pastor, is that they may have insight into emotions. They may understand people and know what makes people tick in this way that they then use for bad, not for good, right? But they have the skill. Another person that comes to mind is Jodi Hildebrandt. She had that sort of engaged, smart, intellectual way about her that drew people in. I'm not saying she's smart and engaging and wonderful. Of course not. She's a horrible person. But she's also very smart, very engaging, very charismatic when she wanted to be, very commanding or powerful in her energy. And so she sucked in family after family, right? Man after man. So that's, I guess, the other piece that I wanted to say is that when you're open post-trauma like that, you're open for exploitation just as easily as you are open to having a new understanding that elevates you into a higher state of a soul or psyche, right? Where you've grown and evolved and healed beyond who you were before in this new way, right? Some people call that like a warrior experience or the hero's journey, right? So sorry, I'm way off on this tangent, but now let's just go ahead and get into it, because that's what we're talking about, is this kind of fake healer, liar. I think that people are starting to exploit healing because people in Western society are so hungry for healing and unconditional love and care and community that is accepting of them for who they are, that people come in and have now started to exploit that in a way, and to carry out their own agenda, right? To get rich off of, self-help, or to create a powerful persona that exploits others like a cult leader, etc., and on and on. So what do we need to know in this collective? What do we need to know in this collective about this kind of thing? Who's in our energy that's maybe kind of this fake healer type person, or someone who's actually a wolf in sheep's clothing? It looks like in this collective situation, it might be a lover, somebody who's coming like a Casanova or a Don Juan, but that's running a game. Yeah, that's what's coming through here. This is going to be a love reading for someone. So we've got the Knight of Cups in the cornerstone, which would be a Casanova or a Don Juan type figure. It's here in the upright, which is really interesting. So it could be that this person means well, but doesn't know themselves or something, right? We're going to get into this, but it could be that this could be something like, you'll hear this in romantic relationships where one person is sober or doesn't struggle with addiction and the other person does. And it's like, they keep saying they're going to quit and then they don't. Why are they such liars? Well, a lot of times an addicted person means what they're saying, of course. They don't want to be doing what they're doing. They don't want to feel powerless over an addiction. They don't want to believe that they're out of control. So they'll say, no, I swear to God, I'm going to quit. I love you. I don't want to lose you. What do you think? I'm crazy? I know you're my queen. Like, I don't want to lose you. But the addiction is out of control. So they mean what they say, but they can't. They're not in control. Does that make sense? They're not lying. They're being honest, but they're lying to themselves maybe about how deep the addiction is. It could be something like that. That this person is like, no, I'm healed. I love you. I want to be with you. Come on, let's go. Let's be together. But they're not being real with themselves, because here in the reverse, we have the Nine of Cups and the King of Swords in the upright. So you in the collective are rightly suspecting that this may not bring you the happiness that this person is swearing that it's going to, that they want to love you, that they want to be with you. You've been through too much. You're like, yeah, I'm older and wiser. That line may have worked on me 20 years ago, but I don't believe you anymore, right? Like, I'm going to tell another example from my own life. I've been married twice. In my first marriage, the person I was married to was an alcoholic, really had a deep addiction, not just to substances, but to other addictive type behaviors. Back then, I was so in love, anything he told me, I wanted to believe it so badly that I would lie to myself and then get hurt again, right? Because his addiction was running things. And this is me now. Like, if he showed back up and was like, hey, I'd be like, yeah, I'm older and wiser now. That worked in the past, but now I've learned. I know more about addiction. I know more about healing. I know more about who you were and how committed you truly were, or whatever, right? It's that kind of thing. And in the facts position in the collective, we're feeling very doubtful, very unsure that we could trust even maybe our own judgment when it comes to this person. This person might really have us, or you in the collective, in a bind of not being able to tell if you can really trust them or not. That's coming through really strongly. And the vulnerability is that it's been a very hard journey for you with this person. It's been very instructive. It's taught you a lot, but it's been hard. It's not been pleasant, right? It's been like that relationship and that marriage was a very hard lesson for me. I had my heart broken over and over in that relationship, in part because I allowed it, right? I kept going back for more because I was a glutton for punishment until the lesson got through, right? That this person's out of control. It doesn't matter how much they promise me. They're not in control. And the longer I join them in believing they can promise me things, the longer I'm sucked in to it and losing out on my own life and freedom, right? So it's that kind of journey. It's been very hard. It's cost you maybe a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, only to find out, God, I poured my heart into this and it still failed or something, right? You're looking at it that way, which is a good thing. You're seeing it for what it is in this collective as a learning experience that's forced you to surrender. It's an experience. When I'm seeing this Ten of Swords right here, it really forced you to your knees. This love did. Whatever lesson that came through this love, it was very painful. And it forced you to surrender. You had to give up and face, like, no matter how much I love this person, they can't live up to what I want from them. They keep trying, but they can't. They're not capable of it, right? For you, this is the dilemma. You feel like at war with yourself because the maybe more codependent part of you, or the part that wants to believe the illusion, wants the love. It wants it. And so I remember that too. Again, to keep using myself as an example, I wanted that marriage and that love so much that I kept believing what he said because I wanted to, because I didn't want to lose him, because I didn't want to have to face this. He's not going to be able to do what I need as a husband, so I better move on, right? I had such a hard time facing that because I was so in love. That was a shadow aspect of me, though. I was codependent too, right? The truth was that relationship was stealing my energy because of the codependency. It was a lesson for me, but at the time that it was very active, and that's what you're experiencing, is like, I love this person, but on the other hand, I can see clearly, I'm a king of swords. I can see clearly that this person isn't good for me. They're manipulating me. They're lying, or else they're lying to themselves about what they're really capable of promising me. You see very clearly that they're a thief in that sense, right? Even if they're well-meaning, they're a thief of your energy and your well-being nevertheless. What's coming is an end to conflict. And what I'm noticing about this, and I want to, oh no, sorry. I was about to say there aren't a lot of major arcanas, and they're not, but there are two, and they're big players, the Death card and the Hanged One. So this reading is coming out because you're ready and needing this confirmation collective that you need to be witnessed about this relationship that really has you confused about whether it's really healthy for you or not, whether it's really good for you or not. I've had a person like that in my life too, where there will be days where that person seems like they were made for me, like everything I ever dreamed. And then other days where I'm like, no, this person's a devil in disguise. They're actually here to cause destruction. No matter how attracted I am to them, they're not good for me and I need to walk away, right? So what is the end of conflict that's coming? Now that we have that as the basic situation, how is the situation going to resolve? And I'm going to pull some other cards here. How is this going to resolve? This person, Knight of Cups, we were talking about maybe a fake healer. So that could be that this person has been, I mean, it was saying he was in the upright, he or she was in the upright. So I don't know. Let's find out more now about the end of the conflict. What about the end of this conflict? And again, if you're in here, thank you. And I'll be asking questions or for you if you want at the end of the general reading. So if you have questions in here in the chat, go ahead and add them and I'll scroll back and ask for you. Whatever. now power. Set there no longer that's if you have maybe the here it doesn't, but broken. It's or of the So now I'm going to hope that the audio has improved and keep going, because somebody was telling me the audio was bad. That sucks. Sorry for the audio. I should have checked earlier, but I didn't. And so now you're going to have to turn the volume up, and there won't be any more audio interference because I quit using the mic. And you know, even when I put the mic in, I was like, there's probably going to be evil eye because I had advertised I was going to do this reading. I have haters that send me evil eye. So they probably got all their whipped up evil eye to send me audio static because that's what they do. So now I'm not in the audio anymore, and we're going to go ahead and do readings. So I'm here to ask questions for you. So go ahead and put a question in the chat if you want me to ask. And otherwise, I'm just doing general tile pulling right now for keywords, concepts that want to come through, messages for people. And if you have a question for me that you want to ask tarot, enter it in the chat now that I got the audio worked out. And we'll get that going here. David, I see the name David. David. There is a band called, I don't even know how you pronounce this. Tanarowin, they're a band of, gosh, are they Bedouin? They live near the Sahara and they became famous worldwide. That band, that musical group is coming through. I don't know how you pronounce their name. I've only ever read it to myself. I've never heard anyone say their name out loud. They're coming through. Tanarawin, maybe is how you pronounce that. Yeah, I can't believe it. The entire word is here. That's cool. Oh, no, it's not quite, but just about. LA, the city. Latimer, the artist. He was an R&B artist. Nazarene is coming through. There's no Z, but the word Nazarene I'm seeing in my mind's eye with these letters. I don't know what Nazarene means. It's Church of the Nazarene. I know that. I know Nazarene is a biblical word. Water is coming through. Water is life, right? Mini Wakani. What now is coming through? Someone might be wondering that. Like, what now? My God. Every day. What now and every day might have meaning. REI, the store. It's an outfitter for backpacking and camping and whatnot. Crest. And I'm hearing that old show Falcon Crest. I think that was a cop show. Or maybe like a private investigator. I don't know. But it was an old nighttime TV drama called Falcon Crest. Late night is now coming through. Someone might watch late night TV, late night comedy. Cree Indian, Cree Native. Right. And I'm hearing rites of spring because we're facing the spring equinox tomorrow, I think. Is that right? Lava. Lava tubes are coming through. I live near some lava tubes, but so do many people. So it doesn't have to be Pacific Northwest, but those are going to have meanings. I had a teacher, a professor at Evergreen State College, and his name was David Whitener, and his name is coming through in my ear. He was one of my writing teachers. He was great. I don't know if he's still with us or not, but he was a legend at the Evergreen State College, David Whitener. Tricolor is coming through, and that is a name that I gave for these wands was Tricolor because I used the red, white, and black spiritual symbolism colors. The little tricolor of red, white, and black have really deep spiritual meaning. DA, district attorney, so crime. Vanna, like Vanna White. So again, like that's interesting. That's like game shows, gaming, Wheel of Fortune and tarot, right? So there's all these kind of links here. And then we had David White, Vanna White. Her whole name is here, Vanna White. Pat Sajak was the other host, right? Dawson's Creek is coming through for some reason. Some people might have watched that show growing up. Reels on Instagram, those might have meaning for someone. Thistle. Thistles are powerful protectors. Learjet is coming through. A Learjet. I wonder if those are even made anymore. Those were like a big deal when they were made in the past in aviation. Tech is coming through. Tech right here and Learjet. So there might be some meaning about aviation or engineering or something for the collective. Dawn. That's my name, middle name, Dawn, and my mom's middle name as well. Thai. Someone might be Thai here. Someone might work for the VA or go to the VA. Tekken. There was an old game. I think it was a stand-up console game called Tekken, wasn't it? Or Tekken 2 is what's coming through though. I don't know why. Someone might have played that growing up. Real World is coming through, the TV show, and Road Rules. And then there was the whole war that they would do between them, the Real World Road Rules battles that they would do. Cheech and Chong is coming through. Oh my God, I love Cheech and Chong. Although they're very sexist, I have to say. So that now it reminds me again, I'll wrap up tiles now about what's coming out about Cesar Chavez, right? And I think this really distinguishes the left from the right. So Cesar Chavez coming out as an abuser of women, it's not like the left wing is all scrambling to defend him and smear the women. There might have been an initial tiny impulse to do that, but any left circles I circulate in all over the media and internet right now are grieving and honest and saying it's true and not surprising because men that seek power often abuse those with less power. He was no exception. And so it's a big distinction when you're looking at left wing and right wing. Look at how the left is handling this. Like, are they smearing people that, no, they're facing the facts and reconciling it. Something that the right seems incapable of doing with somebody like Donald Trump. They just can't face their own ego, that they fucked up, that they made a mistake, that they supported the wrong guy, that they fell for a grift. So instead, they just double down, double down, double down. That's what the law tubers are doing in my world that hate on me. They started they're gonna can't walk away. They can't walk away from me. They can't just let me have an opinion and say negative things about them at times. They have to make a playlist about me, troll me, do all kinds of, it's like you guys are morons. If you, do you want me to expose you totally? Maybe you do. Maybe you're secretly sick of your game and you want to be exposed, because if we're going to really get down to it and these people are going to keep harassing me online and in their surveillance of me, I'll fucking tell the entire story. If you want me to here, I'll tell the story of my ex. I'll tell the story of the affair. I'll tell the story of how you guys came to know them, right? You want me to, I'll name your names. Do you want me to really do that? I'll lay out the entire fucking story here if you want me to, because I have nothing to lose and I'm not going to hold back. I'll share the ways that I fucked up and I'm going to share the ways that you all fucked up, the ones that have decided to, that I thought I could trust, right? The people in my own personal life. So I'll just say that. Leave that at that because that came out naturally through those tiles. And then now if anyone has a question, I will ask a question. Does anyone have questions that they want to put in the chat? It doesn't look like it. So I will go ahead and wrap this up. And then I might do just a video or something because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like doing more readings. So maybe I'll finish now and do an upload or something, or come back and do another live later on. But thank you. And yeah, like I said, like if you guys want to keep provoking and pushing, like they'll go and orbit me even on accounts whose content I like and want to follow. They can't leave me alone. So they won't just ignore me. They'll go in and try to comment on where I am. So it's like it ruins my experience for being able to take in somebody else's content I like, because if they know I like that content, they can't help themselves. They go there and start. So I'm going to watch some content later, but guaranteed they're probably going to show up in that person's comments and start swarming them with all kinds of comments to make me go away or to bait. They are trying to bait me into a conflict. So that's the conflict that I'm going to bring. If you guys want to keep baiting me into a conflict, I'm going to name the entire theory that I have about who you all are, why you've ganged up against me, why you've decided you're going to threaten my professional life, hack my system, swarm my YouTube with a bunch of fake accounts and fake comments, swarm my ex, everything that you're doing. You can just keep doing that and I'll just name names. That's what I'm going to do, is tell everybody's story if you really want it to go there. And I'm going to do it here on my own channel. So that'll do it. See you next time. Much love.